A U.S. cyber sleuth spent 7 years trying to unmask the shadowy figure who ran Bitcoin Fog, a dark web service that authorities say helped criminals launder cryptocurrency for a decade to find their man. Internal Revenue Service agents turned to Chainalysis Inc., a blockchain analytics firm that helps law enforcement and corporations trace the flow of illicit funds. Using Chainalysis software, agents analyze hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin Fog transactions. By April 2021, agents pounced. They arrested Roman Sterlingov, a Swedish and Russian citizen, as he flew into Los Angeles, saying he ran a, quote, go-to money laundering service for his criminals seeking to hide their illicit proceeds from law enforcement. They also charged him with operating an unlicensed money transmitting business related to mixing, a practice that makes it much harder to trace transactions by jumbling together tokens from different owners. Crypto mixing has been an enforcement priority for U.S. prosecutors, who in August charged 2 founders of Tornado Cash with helping launder more than $1 billion for clients that included a North Korean cybercrime organization. And Sterlingov, 35, has proclaimed his innocence as he prepares for trial in Washington. Sterlingov's lawyers have used court filings, hearings, social media, and podcasts to pursue a novel defense strategy. Attack Chainalysis tracing is unscientific and unreliable. On Wednesday, a judge delayed the trial from Thursday to February 12th, so Sterlingov can review confidential Chainalysis data. No defendant has ever gone to such lengths to undermine Chainalysis, a 9-year-old company which has received funding from investors, including GIC, the Singapore Government Wealth Fund, and Blackstone Work, and the basics point of 50 citizens. That's where we're using residents to social agencies, officials. Sterlingov attorney Tor Eklund is unimpressed. This is junk science that doesn't belong in a federal court. Eklund said at the September 7th court hearing, Eklund claims the firm's Reactor software, the secret sauce used by cyber cops, made flawed assumptions about the flow of crypto funds that falsely incriminated Sterlingov. He argues that Chainalysis can't identify its error rate or point to peer-reviewed research to support its accuracy. And Eklund slammed Chainalysis and attacked Justice Department prosecutors as he raised money to support Sterlingov, who's been locked up since his arrest. And the main problem that they have is there's not a single piece of evidence anywhere that he ever operated Bitcoin Fog, Eklund said on the What Bitcoin Did podcast. And what quote-unquote evidence that they have is all based on this really shoddy blockchain forensics conducted mainly by Chainalysis. Chainalysis and prosecutors declined to comment, but in court filings and hearings, both defended the reliability of the Reactor software, while the firm has resisted requests for its source code and testimony from executives, and accused Sterlingov's team of harassment, and asked U.S. District Judge Randolph Moss to hold them in contempt. They wish to be standard bearers for those in the cryptocurrency community who believe governments should have no ability to trace movements of funds on darknet platforms, company lawyers wrote last month. Those same actors would doubtless like to harm Chainalysis, including by publishing its trade secrets. Chainalysis is called the smear campaign, a fundraising ploy, and an attempt to help the crypto world escape accountability. On Wednesday, Moss signed an order allowing a Sterlingov expert to review company data on how it traces blockchain transactions. The judge was clear that the data must remain confidential, and Sterlingov's attorneys have turned to the crypto community for support. One crowdfunding site showed that more than 190 donors contributed about $4,500 to his legal defense fund. We, the Bitcoin community, got your back, wrote one funder. You are fighting for all of us. Chainalysis is a huge scam, wrote another. In a September 11th filing, prosecutors said Chainalysis information is, quote, frequently validated and found to be reliable in supporting subpoenas and search warrants. They cited dozens of successive prosecutions, including the Welcome to Video case against more than 300 people charged with using a darknet market for child pornography. Another was the insider trading case against Vladislav Klushin, a Russian hacker sentenced September 7 to 9 years in U.S. prison. And it creased to be a good, personal people in Foxfire. We shouldn't want to save them and stay off of spacing expected and stay them records to really shape the right times of community without a department. And Sterlingov hasn't had such luck. He described his life and testimony on January 31st when he unsuccessfully asked the judge to release funds seized after his arrest so he could pay his lawyers. Born in Russia, he moved to Sweden at 14. In 2010, he was working for a marketing and web firm and doing freelance IT work when he caught Bitcoin fever. And he went to meetups with fellow enthusiasts and used Bitcoin fog to protect his privacy. So he said he was really concerned about being robbed or hacked either at one of those meetups or by a trading partner. When he said he earned crypto legally and placed it in wallets on the Kraken exchange after mixing it through Bitcoin fog. Sterlingov said that he was a user of the Bitcoin fog, but insists he never operated it or earned fees from it, as prosecutors allege. Agents used Chainalysis to tie the funds in his Kraken accounts to Bitcoin soon fog. On questioning by a prosecutor, he said wasn't sure if he had set up the domain name for Bitcoin fog, but prosecutors have cited evidence unrelated to Chainalysis that he registered the domain name more than a decade ago. The transaction involved 4 forms of currency, 3 virtual payment services, and 3 different burner email accounts, an FBI account agent testified. And investigators found a document in a Google account linked to Sterlingov's phone number that matched the same steps used for the domain name, according to an FBI affidavit. The agent also stated that a series of small value transactions originating from an account registered in Sterlingov's name appeared to test Bitcoin fog before it went live. About to see why this party resemblance. This is just where Bitcoin is now of the subcrucive of the bill's substate and regarded I will be substates of the Bitcoin question of modern Bitfinex exchange, a prosecutor said at the September 7th hearing. His attorney didn't respond to a request for comment. Still, Beekland says there's no corroborating evidence against Sterlingov. This is the only blockchain prosecution that I'm aware of that has no server logs, that has no servers, that has no communications. Eklund said on the podcast, Roby couldn't even code something as complicated as Bitcoin fog.